Fantasy football done right.
Yeah, that's what's up. What's going on, people? This is Husky Downs.
Grip Johnson.
Oh, safety. That's what's up. Yeah. Cheer. Ah. Yeah. What's going on? This is Husky Downs, coming to you from some random location. What you doing there, buddy?
Oh, this is Grip Johnson, in case you didn't know.
Alright, let me back it up a tape. Make sure you guys can get us in camera. Now, today's video is a pre-draft video, much like the first one. And on this one, we're going to focus on is everybody's favorite
running backs.
Yeah, so basically, we're going to go ahead and let you guys know what's worked for us, what we advise. And just for those that don't know, you're looking at a two-time champ here in the same year. And before that, I've been in second place, third place, but I've been a contender every year. So I definitely got some insight that you might want to listen to. As for my buddy Grip here, what you got? What you got, man?
This right here is my protege. I'm very proud of him, but I do have double the championships with this man right here. That doesn't just mean two. That means actually more than for one hand. But basically, we're going to come bring you some insight on the running backs, which are basically the heart of your fantasy team.
Let's go ahead and preface this conversation by going over the running backs that the others out there find to be most beneficial. They tend to go Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson. Actually, let's be exact here. Let me go ahead and pull out my handy dandy notes. We got CJ, AP, Maurice Jones-Drew at 3, Ray Rice at 4, Frank Gore at 5, Steven Jackson at 6. We're going to stop there because, you got no Sean Turner, so on. I mean, whatever. I've got something a little bit different. I've got Adrian Peterson at 1, Ray Rice at 2, Chris Johnson at 3, Gore 4, MJD and Steve Jacks tied for a close 5th. There's some rationale behind that, but before we get into that, what do you think, Grip?
Top 5 you can't argue with. You go to any website, you will see the top 5 and the same top 5 in every single one. AP and CJ, it's whoever your preference. You like a lot of fumbles, go with AP. But with Frank Gore, always number 5 because Ray Rice and Mojo, I'm going to flip-flop. I like Ray Rice a lot better. You get receptions, points for receptions and yards for your running backs. Ray Rice might be the man to go with on that.
Frank Gore's got a much improved offensive line this year. And, Alex Smith at quarterback is improved. He like always has a lot to prove. But he proved last year. It's a lot of proofs. He showed everybody last year that he could get the job done. At least in my league he did. You know what I'm saying? So basically, I definitely think Frank Gore is a viable option to even move up a little bit higher depending on preseason and some of the other, miscellaneous factors. What's the strategy? What should you do? You saw our last video. We kind of gave you an idea of what you should do. What do you advise, Greg?
Can't go wrong running back. First pick should be the running back. I know sometimes Drew Brees is there, Peyton Manning's right there, Andre Johnson is right there. Go with the running back with your first pick. Second pick, you can play around a little bit. I will go with a second running back and number 2 pick, but also...
Looks like someone learned his lesson.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, first pick should always be a running back. That's what I say.
I'm going to take it a little bit further than that and be a little bit more extreme. Extreme! What I'm going to do is I'm going to go with 3 running backs with the first 3 picks. This could vary depending on what transpires in the coming rounds in your draft. However, I do think that if you take 3 running backs, it gives you some options that you otherwise would not have. You can have some trade bait for later on in the season, mid-season. It worked for me. When others have running backs that go down, they get injured, they need help at receiver, quarterback, tight end. And keep that in mind because there's a league that we are in where they are now bringing the tight end back and it's no longer an option, it's a mandated position. Tight ends are very few and far between in leagues or just in the league period. Deshaun Jackson, he and Percy Harvin were carted off the field today, which is no bueno.
Des Bryant, injured ankle, looks pretty bad. Talking about 4 to 6 weeks out.
Blue 32! So anyways, those are your injury updates, relevant injury updates, and that's some news for you on the running backs and what we think. We're going to give you one sleeper before we go. Mine actually is a sleeper, but it has to do with handcuffing. I highly recommend you pay attention to Toby Gerhart. Coming out of Stanford, he was a beast, and I watched plenty of him. Hard to stop, hard to bring down, reminds me of Mike Allstott. However, being the backup to Adrian Peterson, they have similar running styles, and the concern there is that, you know, if they run similarly, then AP's just going to get the bulk of the carries. Not true. Gerhart's going to have his moments, just like Allstott did back when he came into the league. So keep an eye out for Gerhart, and if you get AP, I highly recommend you handcuff Toby Gerhart as well.
Keep your eye on Tim Hightower. Hightower rushed for about 600 yards last year, got about half the carries at goal line. I don't know if he'll get that many this year with Beanie Wells coming back for a second year, but the reason I like Hightower, Matt Leinart is going to suck. He's going to look to throw out to the side to his running backs a lot. Hightower almost had, if I'm remembering right, almost 700 yards as far as a receiver, and actually had about 3 or 4 touchdowns receiving. So keep an eye on him. He might be a big time.
Chubb Johnson, you had him. How'd that work out for you?
I tried to trade for him.
So that's pretty much some sleepers for you, and that's the running backs for this pre-draft edition. We will get more in depth with stats and everything else as the season, you know, is actually here. So thank you for tuning in to this episode. Tune into the next video as we're going to touch on quarterbacks. Thank you for stopping in.
All right, thank you.
This was a Husky Downs and Grip Johnson presentation.